Not a lot of time. We've got less than 3 hours to cover it all, but we will get to everything and your calls. I cannot believe it is Thursday already. It is showtime right now. Here we go. All right, yes it is. My name is Brian. This is Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Celebrating 47 years on the radio, and man, oh man, do we have a lot to cover on the program today. And a lot of things happened in that hearing with Bob Alinsky, and we're in election season. And of course, Peter Navarro waking up this morning having spent his second night as a political prisoner. You know, I remember Nelson Mandela, where's Amnesty International? You know, I remember Amnesty International, aren't they the ones that monitor political prisoners all over the world? Are they operating in the United States with our political prisoners? So we've got so much to cover today. We'll cover as much as we possibly can. You know, I want to start, with this congressional hearing yesterday with Bob Alinsky. And, you know, congressional hearings, I know the popular perception is they don't amount to much. And that generally is true. But that's not the case with this hearing yesterday. And the reason that, this Bob Alinsky guy, we've seen him around for quite a while. Tucker introduced him to America. And Bob Alinsky was, of course, a business associate of Hunter Biden. So that means he's not a good guy. And when he did the interview with Tucker Carlson, his first interview, my recollection is that the reason he came public and did the interview was because he was fearful for his life, right? But typically congressional hearings don't amount to anything. And the reason they don't amount to anything is because they're not courts of law. By the way, if Peter Navarro is in prison for not showing up to the congressional hearing on the why isn't Hunter on his way to prison for not showing up, huh? But this hearing's different. This is not just a political thing with members of Congress barking and shouting and everything else. Joe Biden is so incredibly unpopular among the American people that this hearing is what people want to hear. And what I'm saying, he's not just unpopular among Republican MAGA voters. That's a given. He's unpopular with people that don't even follow politics, right? Easter's coming up. Church is packed on Easter. People that go to church once a year, every 5 or 10 years, they go on Easter, right? And right now, it's not just a presidential election year, and we're getting closer and closer to it, and people are showing up and following the politics. Things in this country are so bad that people that don't normally follow politics closely are. People that don't follow politics during presidential election years are following politics now because things in the country are so bad. You know, the price of everything is through the roof. I'm not sure I mentioned this or not, but on the air, I do so many shows. I can't remember sometimes if I talked about something on the radio show, my podcast, a YouTube stream. But the dollar store, they're closing like over 1,000 stores nationwide. Do you know what kind of impact that's going to have on people? I was telling you last week and the week before that there's this new trend among moms with children, young children, to do their food shopping not at the grocery stores, not Walmart, but Dollar Tree. And that's a real sad thing. You know, nothing wrong with going to the dollar store. I go to the dollar store sometimes just to look around. I buy pens, pads of paper, sometimes some candy. But I've never, I don't eat the food from the dollar store because I don't trust it, and I don't even buy the dog food they have because I don't trust the dog food there. And when I saw this trend that American moms are not just doing their main grocery shopping at the dollar stores, that there's a trend on social media on how to stretch your money at the dollar stores. And now, over 1,000 of them are closing down nationwide. You don't hear liberals, you don't hear Democrats talking about food deserts anymore. Food deserts were this thing they talked about a lot when Obama was in office. And food deserts are like, there's not a grocery store within X number of miles of you. When these dollar stores start closing down, what are these moms going to do? And, you know, the liberals, the Democrats keep telling us, and they love to promote this nonsense on Fox News as well, that Trump has a problem with women. They talk about suburban women. You know, they don't know what they're talking about. I believe that certainly in this election, this is true with most, but certainly in this election, beyond the norm, this election is about people's personal financial situation. All right? And there's no one in a family that knows what the economic situation is more than the moms, because the moms do pay the bills for the most part, do the shopping, and they know how not far their money's going now. Right? And when you have a presidential election season and moms are trying to buy a week's worth of groceries at the dollar store for $30 to $50 when they have more than one child, and plus they've got to feed themselves and the husband, that's tough. And there's other sacrifices that are being made by people in this country. And women understand the struggles more than men, because I think most men are like me, okay? I don't like to have anything to do with that. I don't know what anything costs. That's why when I went to Publix the other day and I went inside and bought a couple of items, it was the first time, I don't know, in over a year that I'd gone into Publix and bought something and walked out with it. Because we do the Instacart, and the prices shocked me. And I was there on a Saturday afternoon, and it was a ghost town at Publix, which is usually and typically one of the busiest days of the week. But food prices are so high, it's not really that busy. You know, so I don't think Trump has a female problem when it comes to the electorate. I think the Republicans are going to perform better than women than maybe we have ever, because women are struggling just to feed their kids under this senile old kook, corrupt Joe Biden's administration. So when there's a hearing yesterday, this Bobulinski thing, to these people that don't follow news and politics, this is all new to them. Byron Donalds had the bribe checks from China and the money laundering, had all the checks written to Joe Biden that he showed on television yesterday in this hearing. That is new news to millions of people that are struggling in this country. So, don't let them convince you that Trump has a problem with women. There's another thing, too, they're floating a lot, another big lie, that Trump did better in the 2020 Florida primary than this one. In 2020, he had 94% of the vote, and this time he only got 80%. This is a bunch of nonsense, okay? In 2020, he didn't have opponents like now. I don't know how many people were on the Florida ballot in the Republican primary. I didn't count. I was so appalled when I saw it. But it wasn't just Trump. Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, Chris Christie, Asa Hutchinson, Vivek Ramaswamy. There were a couple other guys. There were like 6, 7 people on the Republican ballot, and there's a lot of idiots out there who vote for these other people. Nikki Haley got like 3 million votes the other day. So, no, Trump did not perform better. Steve has this phrase that I really like. Figures don't lie, but liars can figure. And the media are trying to push this narrative that Trump's not popular. Trump's more popular than Trump has ever been. Ever. Even before he was in politics. Because people are looking at Trump for help to get us out of this situation. Now, We're going to take our first break. If you're on hold, hang in there. I do have some audio sound bites I want to get to. We got a lot to cover, and we will take your calls. The number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Now, I put a link up there to check out that video. That's my second YouTube channel, and that video. I went to a gator's nest with some of the biggest gators you've ever seen in the wild, and if you could subscribe to that channel, I appreciate it because I'm starting to vlog on that channel, and I was up close and personal to humongous wild alligators right in the middle of a gator's nest. That link is pinned to the top of the live chat. All right, where am I? All right. Let's see. How does that work?
Anywhere in the world at True.
All right, welcome back. Yes. So let me take a call or two, and then we'll get into the events yesterday. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I have no idea.
Good morning. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, it's going to be one of those days. We're starting off hot, guys. All right. Once, twice. All right, you're out. Okay, let me get to the audio. Oh, my goodness. So the Bobolinsky hearing yesterday, now this was interesting. I call her Veruca Salt, if you get that reference. But AOC and Bobolinsky, let's share. I know you've seen this clip, but I'm going to put it in a perspective that you've not heard yet.
I
heard your opening statement. It's submitted to the record, part of our proceedings. I have a quick question. Simple. Is it your testimony today that you personally witnessed President Joe Biden commit a crime?
I believe the fact that he was sitting with me while I was putting together a
Did
business
you
deal
witness the
with-
president commit a crime? Is it your testimony today?
Yes.
And what crime have you witnessed?
How much time do I have to go through it?
It is simple. You name the crime. Did you watch him steal something?
Corruption statutes, RICO and conspiracy.
What is it? What is the crime, sir?
You
Specifically.
You asked me to answer the question. I answered the question.
No.
RICO, you're obviously not familiar with. Corruption
Excuse me,
statutes.
sir. Excuse me, sir. RICO is not a crime.
Oh. Really? Really? RICO is not a crime, says AOC. Well, this is an interesting thing because is AOC, that this is absolutely amazing. And this was the biggest takeaway from the entire thing yesterday. AOC says that RICO is not a crime. So is AOC telling the world that Fani Willis has unlawfully charged President Trump with something? Because Fani Willis in Fulton County has charged President Trump with RICO. If that's not a crime, is AOC telling us that Fani Willis in Fulton County, Georgia is corrupt and has charged President Trump with a crime that's really not a crime? Has AOC cleared President Trump? It sounds like it to me. You know, one day we're going to get the true story about this dingbat. And AOC, remember her story? She was a bartender. I'm not so sure about that. Maybe she poured wine and beer, right? But is she really a bartender? And I've often said this, I don't understand. If I were one of these network people doing an interview with her, I would interview her at a bar and have her make some drinks for me. And I'd order something that has multiple liquors. You know, something like a Long Island iced tea would be my favorite because that's got like 5 different things in it. You know, not a screwdriver. Everybody knows that. And find out if she really is a bartender. I don't think she is a bartender. Pouring beer from a tap is not being a bartender. And I do remember there was an interview with one of the waitresses from the restaurant that she worked at. And when she was running the first time, it was in the New York Post. And the waitress said that all right, enough Veruca. So the waitress said that AOC would steal the tips. Right? They had a tip jar and they would split between the servers and her. And she would steal the tips from the waitress. I know, that's what kind of person she is. Who would steal the tips from a tip worker? AOC. That's who. But this whole exchange with her, where she just came completely unglued. I'm like, I can't stand listening to her too long, so I'm not going to play any more of her right now, at least, maybe later. But the reason that she went so unhinged is because she's afraid. AOC is actually afraid of losing her seat. All week long, there have been multiple stories in her district of how it is flooded with illegals. They're doing crime. They're partying all day and all night. The residents can't sleep. It looks like someplace deep in Mexico. It looks like a third world country in her district right now. And people in her district, like many in New York, are pissed off. And they're blaming the Democrats because they know AOC is an open border advocate. Remember that fake video, those fake pictures of her crying at the fence? She was looking at an empty parking lot. She was acting. Remember that? You know, and people in her district are pissed off, like many other people in New York. So the reason she's out of control here with Bobolinsky yesterday is she's sucking up to the Obama-Biden administration so that they will help her win re-election. She's actually afraid. I'm not saying she's going to lose, but she's afraid that it's possible that she's going to lose. All right? And she's in a panic because that would mean she'd have to get like a real job. So that's why she did this yesterday. I mean, her entire exchange with Bobolinsky, which goes on for like 5 minutes, that's why I can't stay, especially this early in the morning. It's like listening to her is like listening to nails on a chalkboard when she's screaming like that. But and remember, there was a video last week. I played it on the show. She was in her district, and people on the street were following her, yelling at her about the illegals. So she's running interference for Biden, so they'll come in and make sure she's reelected. Remember, the entire House is up for reelection every 2 years. So the entire House, that would be her, are up for reelection. And her level of hysteria yesterday was a little out of character for this type of hearing for her, all right? It was a little different. And that's like a poll. People talk about this poll and that poll. How's he polling here? How's he polling there? And New York is, if it weren't for New York City, there'd be a lot of Republican victories out of the state of New York. But people in New York are so fed up that the most hardcore Democrats are unsure what New York's going to do this time around. The chances of Trump and Republicans winning New York are slim, but they're greater than they have been in a long time, maybe ever, at least in my adult lifetime, because of the border issue. And Greg Abbott sending people there, sending the illegals to New York City, that's really got them flipped out. And that's a good thing, because Democrats are being forced to fight for things and places that they've never had to fight for before. And that's a good thing. Now, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. When we get back, there's a whole bunch more to talk about. You're welcome to call in about anything I've brought up so far. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll get to the calls after the break. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio.
Now, I'm going to play something for you guys that I can't play on the radio because of the language. Make sure everything's turned down. This is insane. A woman got into an Uber in Chicago. I can't play this on the radio because the F words in it and everything, but I'll play it for you guys. So this guy is an Uber driver. He's going to pick this woman up, and this is in Chicago. This is crazy. Watch this. This is nuts. Okay, there she is. Hear that? So she bends down. She says, "Go, go, go." He about to shoot up the car. And then the Uber driver here, he said, "What? Shoot up the car?"
Diamond. Yeah. Go, go, go. You're going to shoot up the car. Shoot up the car? Yeah, go. What the fuck? What is that? What the fuck is that?
Crazy.
What the fuck was that? He just shot at the car. For what? Let him call the police.
I'm going to call.
Fuck this shit.
I mean, you know, where's Black Lives Matter? If Black Lives Matter, why are they not there? I mean, that's crazy. I know, it's freaking insane.
50 years here in South Florida. The Cohen family started their first health food store in 1972, and ever since have been one of the largest.
Going to organize like never before and ensure we are turning out the vote.
I know, it's frightening.
There's so much at stake, and that Donald Trump continues like gluten-free, paleo, and organic, as well as health and beauty aids, pet foods, and more. Visit Vanessa, Trish, Denson, Scott, and Bruce. They're here 7 days a week for all your family's natural health needs.
I know, it's scary. It's crazy. Uber Lives Matter, yeah.
Prosperity Farms Road in the Carmine's Market Plaza by the Prosperity entrance. You can call us or text us anytime at 561-626-4377. That's 626-4377. Or check out our website at nutritionworld.com. Come see us 7 days a week at Nutrition World, Palm Beach Gardens.
I know, that's freaking insane. I know, I've never seen anything like that. I mean, that's just... If Black Lives Matter really was concerned about Black lives, they would be based out of Chicago and spend all their time in Chicago and clean that up. But they're not concerned about Black lives. That's the problem. I'm feeling better today than I was yesterday, guys, so... Yesterday was rough. Exactly. Well, that's why I wanted to share that with you guys. Really need a wrench. Hey, do you know if there's a wrench around? I'm going to have to bring... I keep forgetting to bring one in, an adjustable wrench. That mic is about to... It's just... That bolt... The screw is so loose. I'll have to bring one in myself. I keep forgetting. I don't think about it till I'm here and it's falling apart. You didn't have to bother him with that. Nah, I wouldn't bother him with that. It fell 2 or 3 times during the show yesterday. I've tightened it up. I wouldn't bother Mike with it. I just got to tighten it up every 5 minutes. I just tightened it again by hand. They should super glue that in there. They should tighten it and super glue it.
Be a good idea, honestly.
Because you can take it apart here, right? Yeah. And you can unscrew it there. So that doesn't need to be...
Moved, really.
Yeah, that piece probably comes out. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I mean, I know that's an expensive arm, but...
I mean, if it's going to fall and break by itself...
It can't be just me that it falls. I mean, I move around a lot, so everyone else probably sits still.
Good point.
But...
Yeah, no, I mean, it's stuffy...
I'll see if I... Yeah. I have to bring a wrench in from home. I keep forgetting.
Back to the Steve Kane Show. Here.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
You know, AOC says, okay, RICO's not a crime, right?
That's what she said. So Fani's got to drop charges against all those people.
And really, Jenna Ellis and Cheeseborough and the rest of them didn't need to take pleas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, think about it. How many people has America's mayor put away using RICO?
Oh, I don't know. Quite a few, I guess.
And speaking of her, I found out who's running against her. His name is a man named Martin Dolan. He's running in her district. So I'm not saying he's going to win, but if there's a shot that we can get her out of office and get somebody else that's more amenable, then...
Well, if she were to lose, they would just have some other liberal jerk in there. But she. By the way, thanks for the call, Mike. I took an Uber the other day, and I don't take Ubers very often, but I had to take an Uber to go somewhere. I had my Vespa at the Vespa shop, and I had to go pick it up. So I took an Uber, and I rarely take Ubers. So when I do, I take like the Uber X. If I took them all the time, I wouldn't do it. But I take the Uber X, and the reason I do that is because I want like ice cold air conditioning. I mean, I've been in some Ubers that are just awful. I took an Uber on one of our cruises. We sailed out of Miami, and my sister-in-law lives down the street from the port in Miami Beach, and I parked at my sister-in-law's house and took an Uber to the port. The car, I couldn't believe this car I got in. I mean, I couldn't believe it was an Uber. It didn't seem safe, especially going through Miami, and sometimes getting these cars. So anyway, I always take the Uber X's, and the Uber X's, these Uber drivers, they have a tough time. But if you get in an Uber, it's in particular in the Uber X's, I see this. They have cameras inside pointing at you, recording everything that goes on inside the cars. You ever had this experience in an Uber or a Lyft? And they do that for their own protection. Somebody accuses them of being inappropriate or something. Maybe they get robbed, and they all have cameras in there. Well, during the break, I showed people watching on the YouTube live stream something I can't show you guys because it's a visual and it's a lot of profanity. I was going to go through it and bleep it out, but it was just one long beep. It would have been nothing. But I showed this to everyone. It was an Uber driver in Chicago. So this Uber driver in Chicago picks this girl up at night. And like these Ubers I've been in lately, he had a camera on the windshield facing him, so you can see him in the whole car. And he drives away, and the girl lays down in the seat and tells the Uber driver, go, he about to shoot. And then you hear gunshots. And the Uber driver, that's when all the F words and everything are going like crazy. I mean, it's like crazy. He's like freaking out. He's getting shot at. She's getting shot at. He's just an Uber driver who picked her up. I mean, very strange. And this was in Chicago. Very dangerous. But both of them, even though they were trying to get away, they were the Uber driver and the woman were pretty calm. There were a lot of F words, but they were pretty calm, cool, and collected about the whole thing. And I imagine the reason they were is because they're kind of used to this in Chicago. But it was pretty scary. And, BLM, Black Lives Matter, if they really were concerned about the lives of blacks, they would be based in Chicago. They would dedicate 100% of their activities to Chicago and really save black lives. But they're not interested. Black Lives Matter is not interested in saving the lives of blacks. Now, Candace Owens had exposed that BLM is really a real estate racket where they were taking all the donations that people made and buying mansions and things like this. But did you see what BLM did yesterday? They were protesting Kyle Rittenhouse. And, listen to this. Last night, as Kyle Rittenhouse prepared to speak at the University of Memphis, 200 BLMers gathered outside to protest Kyle Rittenhouse's appearance. One protester held up a sign that said, "Put Rittenhouse behind bars, not a podium." Another sign said, "Murderers don't belong here." This is Black Lives Matter. A third sign said, "Face of a weenie," next to photos of Rittenhouse. A fourth said, "No one should be open to racism, Christo-fascism, murderous little," and then they used the S word. As the crowd grew, a group walked up holding signs and chanting, "No justice, no peace." They continued their chants periodically. Someone banged along on a trash can like it was a drum. And this was Black Lives Matter. So Black Lives Matter are protesting Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, Kyle Rittenhouse shot a couple of people, killed a couple people in self-defense, but how many people did Kyle Rittenhouse shoot? Was it 3? Was it 4? I've forgotten. Anyone know how many people did Kyle Rittenhouse shoot? How many people did Kyle Rittenhouse kill? In self-defense, by the way. You know what I don't think Black Lives Matter know? At least not these hundreds that showed up protesting him. And maybe some of you don't know. I know a lot of you know this. Do you know of... Okay, he shot 3 people. Kyle Rittenhouse shot 3 people. Do you know of the 3 people that Kyle Rittenhouse shot in self-defense, they were all white? None of them were black. He shot 3 people. All 3 people that Kyle Rittenhouse shot in self-defense were white. But they think that he shot black people for some reason. Why is that? You know why? It's the media. So why is Black Lives Matter protesting a guy who shot 3 white people? And by the way, he was acquitted in those cases. It was self-defense, and they were all white. So why are they protesting the shooting of 3 white people, Black Lives Matter, when I'm watching an Uber driver and a black woman in Chicago get shot at by some guy as he's going down the street? You know, this is how the media operate. They've got people so brainwashed, they don't even know what they're about. And if you went up to this crowd of BLMers in Memphis, at the University of Memphis, protesting Kyle Rittenhouse, they wouldn't know what I just shared with you. They would think that he got away with murdering 3 black people. He didn't get away with anything other than his life from people that were trying to kill him. He was acquitted of all charges. It was self-defense, and all 3 people he shot were white. I wouldn't be surprised if the history books tell us that Kyle Rittenhouse shot black people. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Ben from Pompano.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, so a few things. First off, AOC, she's not like she's like a provocateur or like a political agent. She is part of the New Justice Democrats who actually had auditions in order to take on this. She is exactly she's an orchestrated, planned person that was inserted into her position by a nonprofit of like pretty much Marxists. They call themselves Democratic Socialists, but
that's correct.
Marxist, and that's why she sounds so intelligible. She sounds like an idiot. Like she has like room temperature IQ, and she sounds like a child. Like she honestly has the voice of a 12-year-old girl. And the reason that she got into politics is because she's a narcissist. And so this is not she made a perfect position when she did these auditions. They found someone who was stupid but hyper confident.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was just the perfect match. And that's why they've done the same with Ilhan Omar and all the new the squad. It grows every year. So this is not an accident. They're not just getting in here because, you know, our population's getting dumber, which it is, but they're actually being planted. And as far as Black Lives Matter go, you can tell no one talks about them anymore. People are quietly quitting Black Lives Matter because they are part of Black Lives Matter, as well as gender queer theory and drag queen story reading hour, and as well as the critical race theory and all that. It's all goes. The reason you're trying to make sense of Black Lives Matter is it's incoherent. They're simply like a Marxist organization. They've even said that the Chicago chapter even said that they follow like Lenin Marxist principles, and so they're not here to actually make lives better in the black community. They simply use blacks just like the communists use the.
Well, what they are, they're 2 things. One, they're a real estate scam, okay, which was insane that Candace Owens did a documentary on. But their primary purpose is they're a Democrat vote-getting operation. They are what Jesse Jackson used to be with the Rainbow Push Coalition, but he's just too old and he's out of it now. They're a Democrat vote-getting organization. That's all.
Exactly. Jesse Kelly talked about this, and he says that the Democrats, just like the communists, rely on malcontent. And because they don't rely on class warfare anymore, what they do is they make racial division, gender division, you know, and so they tell these people they're oppressed, and just like the communists tell the proletariat they were oppressed.
That's right.
Agitates them and gets them riled up to vote for Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
All part of it. It's a playbook we've seen before, but unfortunately, because our schools don't teach it, a lot of people aren't familiar with it. But I was reading a biography on Mao not too long ago, and it was uncanny, Brian. I can't tell you how uncanny it was, the same tactics he used. I honestly thought I was reading.
Well, you're right, it's Rules for Radicals. You know, when I was in school, it was during the Cold War, and you know, I had this one teacher who he had to have been like a Reagan conservative, a social studies teacher. And during the Cold War, you got a real education about communism and capitalism. It was part of the curriculum. And this is not a new thing. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this. And he drew 2 points on the blackboard, right? On the left was capitalism, and he drew a point. On the right was communism, and then he drew a line. And he said, at some point, communism and capitalism will meet. They're the same thing. And then the lines keep going. And he says, communism will become capitalism, and our capitalist system will become a communist system. Well, that was like 1985. I was like in 8th grade or something, 8th or 9th grade. And that's where we are now. We're in a situation where we really are not a capitalist society. I mean, look at our farmland. It's owned by China and Bill Gates and these big farm co-ops, like in the days of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, and look at the administrative state, the EPA, for instance. They're trying to, Harry Hagerman, who took over Liz Cheney, that absolute disgusting vile reptile, congressional seat in Wyoming. She actually made a wonderful point about there was the EPA stepped in on this guy who bought like 2-acre farm, and it had a small little irrigation running through it, and eroding the surrounding land. So he had to get rid of it. But the EPA declared it like a authentic navigable route or whatever, and they were fining him like $57,000 a day. So we have a large CCP-like apparatus that goes after our citizens.
That's correct.
Just like the Communist Party. And, you see this the other day. They're mandating all vehicles by 2030 have to be so low emissions that it's impossible to use and interpret.
Well, and what they've done, and this has been going, traffic deaths are up each and every year. And the reason that is because it started during the Clinton era. Because of the emissions requirements, what the manufacturers do to meet the emission requirements is they make the cars lighter. So they make them out of more and more plastic every year. And the more and more plastic means the less protection. So liberals are getting people killed in car accidents every day who would have survived if it weren't for the emissions requirements. I'm serious.
Yeah, well, that's another communist tactic. They destroyed industry so then they can go in and say they need to take it over.
Correct.
They make things inefficient, like Pete Buttigieg. He destroys, trains and our transportation system, and then what does that justify? Oh, more government.
That's right.
So we can make this better. But that's the play they always use. They're real disgusting people, and it's all connected from Black Lives Matter to AOC to the EPA. It all falls in line. This Democrat Party that you and I knew growing up, they're dead.
Oh no, it doesn't exist anymore. They were bad enough then, but now it's no. Ronald Reagan there's a very famous quote of Ronald Reagan saying that the American people will not openly accept communism, but if you call it socialism, they'll accept every last tenet of it. Ronald Reagan said that. And that's where we are today.
I think that Moms for Liberty, I think it was Tiffany Justice said, when communism comes to your door, she just had a documentary come out. She said, when communism comes to your door, it doesn't say, I'm here to oppress you. It says, I'm here to liberate you.
Communist.
And what it does is what ends up happening is the release of criminals, like we're seeing, the summer of 2020, that complete communist revolution, and it's a cultural level.
Yeah, no, you're right. Listen, I gotta run for the break, but great call. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Brian Craig here. I've been telling you about how my chiropractor, Dr. Philip Appleton, has rid me of pain from a knee injury and arthritis pain with his laser away.
Welcome. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. Did any of you watch my video on my other channel with the alligators? If you guys subscribe, yeah, those are some pretty big gators. They're like dinosaurs, man. I'll put the link in, you guys. If you could subscribe, that's my vlogging channel. And this is when I went to Lake Okeechobee. And you got watch until the end when I go to get the catfish. And there it is. I mean, those are some big gators. Yeah, make sure you watch the whole thing. And if you could subscribe to that channel, I appreciate it, because I'm going to start vlogging on that channel quite a bit. It's things that don't fit here. Yeah, last year's cruise was awesome. This year's is going to be incredible, too. I'm going to put the cruise videos on my other channel. I'm going to live stream in the mornings on the ship instead, because I won't be here, but I'll do the news and stuff in the mornings on this channel. But the cruise will be on that other channel. All right, we'll be back right after this. We'll be back in 41 seconds. My Vespa, it'll go about 65. Well, thank you, Sergey. Sergey, thank you very much for subscribing. Yeah, I'll be putting some more. I'll probably do some vlogging this weekend.
Kane Show is on the air.
All right. Welcome back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. You know, I just checked during the bottom of the hour break. Free shipping continues at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane at checkout, and that's free shipping site-wide. No matter how large or small the purchase, no matter how heavy or light the item, it's free shipping site-wide, plus the special deal. And right now, the $25 extravaganza is going on at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. $25 for some of the best and most popular MyPillow products. The MyPillow pet beds, $25. I have 2 of these. My dog, my cat love them. They're great. They're completely machine washable. The MyPillow 100% Giza pillows, which I have, $25. That's an upscale MyPillow. The cover of it is that Giza cotton. What else do they have for $25? A whole bunch of stuff. Oh, yeah, the 6-piece MyPillow towel set. I dried my body off with my MyPillow towels this morning, $25. And free shipping site-wide, as well as the special deals with our promo code Kane at checkout. So take advantage of that. You know, I had on my Vespa, you know, I got a Vespa, my MAGA scooter, and I was riding down Federal Highway on my Vespa. I had to pick it up the other day from the Vespa deal. And I keep up with, my Vespa goes about 65 miles an hour, and I wasn't going that fast. But, it keeps up with traffic. I don't take it on I-95 or anything, or the Turnpike. That'd be crazy. But, I take, the back roads, US 1, 441, stuff like that, University Drive, all those kind of things, A1A. But I was going north on Federal Highway, and I was in Pompano, and the car in front of me slammed on their brakes. And it was the first time that I had to slam on my brakes on my Vespa, and my life passed in front of my eyes. I thought I was going to die, and I had to slam on the brakes too. It's got anti-lock brakes on it, and it stopped perfectly. I couldn't believe it. It was where I thought I was going to go over the handlebars, because I don't know how fast I was going. I was keeping up with traffic, but that on US 1, that could be 50 to 60 miles an hour. I don't know how fast I was going. I'm keeping up with traffic. And I saw him slam on the brakes, and I'm getting ready to do it. I'm like, I'm going to go over the handlebars and crash. And there's car behind me. I'm like, I'm done. And I slammed on both brakes, and it stopped perfectly. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. You know, you think about these things when you get older, don't you? All right, let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Second time they did this today. Yeah, I know. That's okay. That's okay. I cannot be Baba Booeyed, okay? Believe me, people have tried. People have tried unsuccessfully. Did you see what Biden did in Phoenix, Arizona? Bill Clinton was bad enough. You know, the way that he was with the women, you gotta, I remember we would talk about it at the time. Who would let their daughters near Bill Clinton when he was president? And now, of course, the question is, who are these people that are letting Joe Biden around their children? Joe Biden is on stage in Phoenix, Arizona for a campaign stop. There's a woman speaking. Biden sees a child in the audience. I'm going to play this. He walks off the stage during while this woman's speaking at his podium with the presidential seal, just so he can get fresh with this child. So here she is talking, and Joe walks off stage, and the people on stage are looking at him, and they're like, "What's going on here?" The camera moves. He sits down, and it's a young mother with a baby who's about a year and a half old. The woman's still speaking, and he goes and starts to have a conversation with the child who doesn't talk, and the young mother. And the young mother she's pretty, and I don't see a man with her, and Biden's whispering in her ear, and then he comes back. Yeah, you're a creep. I couldn't resist the little baby. Well, it wasn't the little baby's ear he was whispering in. And what happened, this guy's a predator. And he went down there not because of the baby. He was coming on to the mother. She's in her 20s. He's a predator. Like Judge Goron at the gym we were, that Veritas, or not Veritas, it's not Veritas anymore. I'm so used to saying that. James O'Keefe exposed with the O'Keefe Media Group. And, the thing about people, and this is something I've noticed about people when they're old and they're dementia suffering. And again, here in Florida, we have the oldest population in America. Half of this state are suffering from some form of dementia because of the age. When people are suffering from age-related dementia, this has been my experience. Their negative qualities become more pronounced. And I think the reason that is I think it's a little bit like intoxication. When people are drunk, they lose their inhibitions. They lose that ability to stop themselves from doing insane, stupid things. That's how it is with age-related dementia people. And Joe Biden is a pervert. And he saw this young, pretty mom. He saw her on stage, and he wanted that girl. He wants her. He wants that mom. And what did he do? He used her baby as a way to get in with her. This guy is as sick and as twisted and as perverted as it gets. There was an event with him. Did you see the one of him with the lady at the White House? He was at the White House. This was day before yesterday. Joe Biden, he's at the White House, some event. He's done speaking. He walks up to this blonde woman. He's about to kiss her. And then Jill comes up. She was sitting down. Jill stands up, goes and stops him and walks away with him. He thought that woman was Jill. And he thought he was about to go kiss his wife. This is the guy with the nuclear football. This is dangerous. Not only is he corrupt, he's completely checked out. And if you've noticed, in the last couple of weeks, things have gotten much worse. And you go and watch this video of him in Phoenix. He had no interest in that baby. He was trying to get in the mom's pants. No doubt about it in my mind, and you can tell. He just he uses children to make a move in with the moms. And what are you going to do? He's got Secret Service protection. So what are you supposed to do? You have to sit there and take it, or you'll get arrested. All right, we'll take our break for the top of the hour. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be back right after this break.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown, and Herman Broward on 96.9 FM, Torrentone 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Your home for the Steve Kane Show.
Good morning at 8 degrees below.
All right. Yeah, this shirt I'm wearing, I got at the Festival Flea Market, the one we did the appearance where they called the cops on us. I bought 2 of these shirts, thankfully, because I can't go back.
Obama phone?
Yes.
Why are you, who are you going to vote for in 2016?
It darn sure won't be Obama.
I don't know things.
Right, and I do believe that, because where I live at and where I was at, the police is running. And I seen it with my own eyes, and I'm glad you brought a lot to my attention about that, because I've just moved from Cleveland Heights to Cleveland. Cleveland, you can walk outside butt naked. You go to Cleveland Heights, they're going to arrest you, say you raped somebody because you're butt naked. The police is running. You know, years ago, my father didn't eat that, because now they got them things they put on kids' legs, and
It's horrible. Here's another caller. The most incredible voice. Are you getting job offers for TV, radio, voiceovers, etc.? It says you way better than Piers Morgan.
I'm looking for something, which I may or may not play. Something just popped in my mind. All right, welcome back, one and all callers on hold standby. So we got a big update on Planet Fitness. I was talking about this the other day. Let me play this audio. A woman in Alaska went into the ladies' locker room at her Planet Fitness, and there was a man in there, and she confronted him. I played this on Monday, Tuesday, but there's an update.
Good morning at 8 degrees below zero in Fairbanks, Alaska. Day 2 of Planet Fitness saga. I came in Monday. There's a man in the women's locker room shaving. A little girl sitting in the corner. She could have been 12 years old. I don't know how old she was. In a towel. Kind of freaked out that there's a man shaving in her locker room. Well, I was offended. I took a picture of him and I asked him, why are you there? You're a man with a penis. Why are you in the women's locker room?
By the way, she said, you are a man with a penis. Is there another type of man? I don't know. Maybe one of these days.
And he justified by saying, I'm queer LGB. And I said, you shouldn't be in the women's locker room. Well, I left. And as I said this morning, I got canceled. Planet Fitness is defending the man in the women's locker room, the man with the penis, rather than the child sitting in the corner with a towel wrapped around her. So people, I just want you to know, this is weird, it's not good, it's rather disturbing. So I would like for you women to stand up and have a voice and stop the shenanigans. You have authority, use your authority. I took that picture because I felt like I was in an unsafe space. And so I'm probably going to go report this to the police today, but I just want to tell Samantha and Joe that work there and own it, thank you so much for canceling my membership. You saved me the trip.
Okay. So that has gone viral. Everyone's reporting that story. And then yesterday it came out, Planet Fitness, their company value, they've lost $400 million, just wiped out of their value in just 5 days over that video and that woman. And yeah, the valuation dropped from $5.3 billion on March 14th to $4.9 billion March 19th. That's amazing. And do you know how hard it is for people to cancel their gym memberships? They don't make it easy. Rarely can you cancel a gym membership online. You have to physically go in person to do it. And I'd like to see some numbers on how many people cancel their gym memberships. I haven't seen that in any of the stories, and the effort that people put into it to physically go there and do it. Now, this loss of value is not just based on loss of gym memberships, okay? This is the brand damage in the future if people are selling off the stock. But if they're selling off the stock, that means they have some data of people canceling their memberships, which is a very difficult thing to do, canceling the gym membership. People are fed up with this. You know, even Bill Maher. Bill Maher said not long ago on his HBO show, he's liberal. So he says, you know, he said to all the transgender people, he says, I'm glad we're living in an era where you can live your truth, but everything's not about you. And that's true, right? It's not enough for them to be able to walk around and live how they want. They want all of us to not just accept it, but live that bizarre way too. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug.
Hey, there's another company destroying themselves. I don't know what's going on.
The Bud Light effect is what it is.
Yeah, it's good that they're all getting a lesson. $400 million is a lot of money. No, and everybody, if I had that stock, I would definitely have sold it. Because you think everybody's going to cancel, and they're going to go down the Bud Light route. And, somebody, eventually you're going to wake up and say, this is not good. Let men stay in men's locker rooms, and if you...
well, I don't know why there's a 12-year-old girl in a towel in a gym locker room at all. Whoever her parents are, you shouldn't take your child and let them change clothes in the gym at a public gym. You do that at home. I mean, I would never, even before this era, I would never allow that.
Yeah, that's for sure. I told you a while ago about I stopped somebody from coming into the ladies' room, a man from the ladies' room, but this is the way it is. All of a sudden, everybody wants to be wacko these days. And
well, one of our listeners in California, they go to Planet Fitness, and they sent me some photographs of, by the way, this person, I don't want to say it because they may not want to know, but they're going to be on our cruise in August. They took some photographs of the signs outside of the locker rooms, okay? This is the outside the women's room, right? So it says women. It has a picture of a woman in a dress and then somebody in a wheelchair, and it says, "You belong. We celebrate all genders and identities, creating an inclusive space where everyone is welcome," right next to the women's locker room sign. So that means you don't have to be changing your gender. That means you and I could walk into the women's locker room if we wanted. And and isn't that crazy at Planet Fitness in California?
Crazy times. Like they said, the pendulum is one way. It's got to come back the other way because it's gone way too far now. Now, just one other thing I'd like to mention on your podcast yesterday, saying how the stock market went up. You're 100% correct. What you said was 100% correct. Everybody is in love with President Trump now. No.
Well, what Doug's talking on my podcast last night, the stock market did well yesterday, the Dow Jones Industrial, and I was talking about how the stock market is performing well because Wall Street projects Donald Trump coming back to the White House, so they're buying up stocks. They're buying low, and driving things up right now because Trump's coming back.
100%. Everybody is President Trump in love again. They can't stand this guy Biden. And if you listen to that hearing yesterday, man, how much more do you possibly need to hear before you want to impeach this guy? The whole country is...
We have the majority. I know it's like only 3 seats, but that's the majority. He should be impeached already. These Republicans can't even in this majority impeach Biden, who's a criminal.
Yeah, that's for sure. And this phony Johnson, this phony MAGA Johnson that wants to wait until the election.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm looking at this picture at the Planet Fitness that one of our listeners sent. You belong. We celebrate all genders and identities, creating an inclusive space where everyone is welcome. It's a sign on the women's locker room outside, and there's wallpaper. And the wallpaper has writing on it. It says "Judgment-Free Zone." Really? So heterosexual guys, we can go into the ladies' locker room when hot girls go in and just stare at them changing clothes, and we won't be judged? Or maybe we could just stare at them working out. Maybe we don't want to work. We just go to the gym and just to check out the chicks and look at them up close. We're not going to be judged.
It's a weird place, but just California maybe. But I don't know if it's in the whole.
I don't know what goes on at the other Planet Fitnesses. This one is in California. All right, Doug, take care, man. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie.
Hey, Richie.
Good morning. I might be pronouncing this wrong, but I mean, we're arguing about Planet Hollywood. Meanwhile,
Planet Fitness.
Fitness. But meanwhile, the Ketanji Brown of the Justice, if you were to go in front of this black female justice and woke justice, and she doesn't know what a woman is. So they actually put her into the Supreme Court. A woman like this.
Yeah. Ketanji.
She would be Ketanji. She would be behind. She would be behind these people going into the ladies' locker room, because this is what's going on today.
Mm-hmm.
And as for that hearing yesterday, I'm going to say something, and I don't care whether it comes across from people. You call me racist, call me anything you want. Bolinski, whatever his name, I watched him. He fought these people right back, and that's what we need, some spine. And he told Raskin and the other guy, the Golden, that they were liars right there in his opening.
Mm-hmm.
And then that black female congressman, the disrespect that she had, she told him basically, "Shut up. It's my time."
Mm-hmm.
They asked him a question. They disrespected the witness like I've never seen in my life.
They always do. The Democrats always do this. They ask questions. If you start to answer, they scream at you and say, "I'm reclaiming my time," or "That's not a question. This is my time." This is how the Democrats always are.
Yeah, but that black female congresswoman with the long hair, or almost every hearing, I don't know.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, she is an arrogant, uppity black woman.
Uppity?
Black woman.
Really? Do you have to use that word? I mean, what's the point of using that word?
I'm sorry, she is.
Uppity.
Listen, I see how...
You don't describe AOC that way.
She's a moron.
See, this is okay. This is what happened with that. I was going to play that later, but I'm not going fast enough for Richie. I'll let me get her name, because I forgot her name, and I know she's all over the news today. Well, she's a sick woman. Her name is Crockett. Like Crockett and Tubbs, Crockett. And the thing about her, see, this is the thing. I was talking to a caller about this the other day. The reason that our liberal black callers get so mad at me or Steve is because we talk to them like we talk to our white callers. And liberal blacks, they don't know this, but white people talk down to them and everything else. And it's not often that white people talk to them in an equal way like they would talk to white people. And women in general, and this Representative Crockett, she's a good-looking woman, right? So a good-looking woman, and regardless of skin color, black, white, Hispanic, whatever, a good-looking woman, people always defer to a good-looking woman. People always defer to women. So she's got the trifecta. She's a good-looking woman, and she's black. So she's used to being able to go around and steamroll people without them standing up for themselves. And when somebody stands up to someone like this, they go ballistic.
Yeah, but you forgot one thing. She hates white people, and that's a fact.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I mean, that she's a racist sitting there.
Yes.
That's what I come to. Listen, you can't...
But you know what? You've got a tinge of that, too.
I have a what?
You have a tinge of racism.
Absolutely not. I have a tinge of light. I'm saying that.
See that? Yeah.
You didn't sit for 32 and a half years, and so don't even go there.
I have a clue. Richie, when you talk about black people, you say things and use different. Like I haven't heard someone use. Hold on, I haven't heard someone use uppity in years.
I did that on purpose.
Yeah, you want to sound like a racist.
No, she came across like that. To the way she took. She would do that. She wouldn't do the same thing if there was.
Uppity is an old word, and it's an old Southern word, and it used to be quite common. And what uppity means, it's something when a white person like Richie uses uppity, it means that someone who is black is speaking out of their place in society. Uppity is a very racist term.
I would like her to talk to everybody the same way. Not because of skin color. See, you gotta be blind with skin.
I've seen her, listen, I've seen her a couple times in hearings, and she's always nasty.
Black people, not to black, I'm sorry to say that.
I think what you would find is she's nice to Democrat people, but people that are up there giving testimony that fits the conservative side, she's nasty to.
Talks about President Trump, she is disgusting. And she's called him a racist sitting there.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying, listen. I'm not disagreeing with you in that she's probably a racist like Joy Reid, but when you use the word uppity, you're saying that she is out of, you said they have their place? Who has their place? What does that mean?
Oh, here we go. What I'm trying to say is nobody has their place. Everybody should talk to everyone with respect. But she tends to be, I'm sorry, a ghetto woman that got put.
Yeah, a ghetto woman. Okay.
That's striking out. You don't think so, huh?
She is where she is for two reasons, right? She's black and good looking. You know, I mean, yeah.
California, the old lady, the old bag. That's it.
Which one? There's which one? Maxine Waters?
Yeah, that one. And she ain't good looking, but she's an arrogant person.
No, and she's racist. Yeah.
People, in the mess were her people, and I say her people, her constituents.
Yeah, but Richie, you don't believe that using the term uppity to describe a black person is racist? Are you trying to tell us that?
Uppity, I believe that is racist, but I'm doing not to all black people, to her particularly. If I was sitting there in Bobolinsky, I would have probably lost it and told her off. Mm-hmm. It's how you talk to people. You don't talk.
All right. I got to appreciate the call. You know, I talk about this sometimes. And this is true with Richie. You know, most people that are racist don't think they're racist. That's what he said. I just see things. You know, I've seen things. You know, he sees reality. Uppity that's a very, very racist descriptor of black people. Very racist. In fact, I cannot remember the last time I heard that. I mean, it's been a long time since I've heard that word. And probably some of you may never have heard it used. I mean, you know what the word means, but you may have never heard the word used, except maybe if you're watching an old movie or something. All right, we're way late for the break. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. This sales event will be held at one location only. City Key of Greater Orlando, just off the Florida Turnpike. Drive a little, save a lot.
No, it does not mean stuck up. It does not mean stuck up. Not in the context that he used it. No. Yeah, it's an old... I'll explain uppity when we get back. I'll explain uppity when we get back. No, Google will not have the answer. It depends on where you live, Leslie. It's a southern when you in the South, when you use uppity describing a black person, it's a racist term. Words have different meanings. Well, I've lived in the South pretty much my whole life, so believe me. This is the deep South. And he's a it's a prideful person. This is crazy. This is crazy. No. Oh yeah, this is the South. Let me pull up the woman he's talking about. Okay.
Back to the Steve Kane Show. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM. Hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at True Oldies FL.
All right, okay. We're very late for our breaks. In fact, we're late for the bottom of the hour. Whenever we're behind on our breaks, it's my fault, just to let people know. I don't want to get Mike in trouble because I go too long on a break, and, so it'll be a short segment. But Richie's going to like this segment because we're talking about what he said. Richie's a narcissist, so he likes what I'm talking about. This uppity term, okay? Because I was very surprised. First, I was surprised to hear him use it about a black person, and then in the chat room on my YouTube channel during the break, people are like, no, uppity means stuck up or you're full of yourself. Let me play the audio that Richie was referencing, okay? This is Congresswoman Crockett.
Yes, I just want to make sure that I point out, and this is not a question, just in case you wanted to know, that on page 174 of your transcribed interview, line 9, it says, this is an absolute lie, in reference to talking about the FBI. What you stated...
I did not call the
what was
FBI
stated
agents
right
liars.
before that was,
I
first
said
of all,
they
I
misstated
said that I'm
or made
speaking, and I did
mistakes.
not ask you a question. First of all, it doesn't say Tony Bobulinski told the FBI. This is a summary of 2 agents that took notes through my interview, and their summary apparently that they presented says Bobulinski first met in person with members of the Biden family at a 2017 meeting in Miami, Florida. This is an absolute lie. That is what it says. The final thing that I'm going to say is about this. What we have from Ken Buck, a Republican. I don't think that the impeachment of Biden is appropriate, and so House Speaker Mike Johnson's ability to talk me into staying here is going to be about as successful as his ability about talking me into an unconstitutional impeachment.
I'll let her have 30 seconds over.
Okay. So her yelling for a second, Richie described that as being uppity. Words have different meanings in depending on how and what sentences you use them in. And also regionally, and also generationally, all right? And I've lived here in Florida almost my entire life, and even before I lived here, I've been coming here since I was a little kid, okay? And this is the Deep South. I know it doesn't seem that way in certain parts of Florida because so many people have come here from other states, but when I was growing up in South Florida, in Broward County, Okeechobee, Palm Beach, this was like the good old boys club, okay? I mean, it was, in the 80s, it was normal to see guys driving around in this neighborhood where the radio station is right now. Now, this is a long time ago because I-95 used to end right up the street from where I'm standing. I remember that. But you would get off of I-95 here, and you'd see pickup trucks that had 2 shotguns in the rack in the back window of the pickups, okay? Confederate flags everywhere. Segregation was really just over. And I've talked about this a lot. When I went to this school in 5th grade, everybody called it the colored high school still. Oh, you go to the colored high school. I mean, yeah, that's, you know. Steve went to middle school in Miami, Nautilus Middle School in Miami Beach. It was segregated. There were no blacks. Now you could argue it's segregated still in reverse if you go down the Nautilus. Okay, so this is the Deep South. That's it. And uppity in the South is a word, is a term, a phrase, like he used it, that I have not heard since I was a little kid. Somebody actually use it. So people that are not Southern and not my age or older may not understand what that means in the context in which Richie used the word. Uppity can mean that you're full of yourself. You're self-important, you're conceited, you think you're very important. But in the context in which Richie used it about this black woman means that being uppity means she is speaking up beyond her place in society. He even said, these people, remember later in the conversation? And that's what people used to describe black people who spoke up. Now, I'm not saying that she's not a racist and she's out of control, okay, and she's a nasty person. I agree with that. And you compound it with the fact that she's good-looking and black and a woman, and people don't question her too much, okay, and a member of Congress. But in the context in which Richie used uppity, that is a racist term. And I know that's it's an old term. You know, I mean, I can remember, I can remember here in this town, seeing black people called the N-word to their face in the middle of the day by people. I mean, things used to be pretty racist here in Florida. And Richie's an old Florida boy, okay? And he's an older guy. And that's the way it is. I mean, how many of your grandparents used to call black people colored, right? Yeah. And so words have different meanings in different areas and at different times. But in the context, you guys can Google uppity and find, I don't know let me see what Google says. How does Google define uppity? And I'll throw this out because I know we have some Southerners and we have some native Floridians that can tell us what that word means other than me. Okay, let me put in a uppity definition, see if it comes up. And this is on Google. An uppity person believes in an unpleasant way because they think they are more important than they really are. Okay, now that's the modern definition in 2024. But the Southern definition from the olden days, okay, of the Deep South, uppity means a black person who is speaking out of their place in our society. Okay? And if you want to call me a liberal, someone told me I should go work for Joy Reid. No, I'm not a liberal. I'm very, very conservative. But that's what the word means in the context in which Richie said it. And I'd like to, I'm going to move on to some other topics, but I'd like to hear some feedback on that to people that are old enough and Southern to remember terms like that being used. And think about it, I can't even remember the last time I heard someone use uppity. I really can't. Not in person. All right, our number 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. The greatest rock and roll hits of the 60s and 70s coming up this morning. From the Palm Beach Patio Furniture Weather Center, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created, here's the Oldies forecast.
South Florida, first morning meteorologist Vanessa, that's from WPTF 25 News. A nice cool start. We have temperatures in the 60s. We'll see a lot of sunshine today with highs back to normal near 79 degrees with no rain in the forecast. We'll see big changes on the way on Friday.
Yeah, Florida used to be a lot more southern than it is today, guys. Florida has changed. Okay. Yeah, Matt, yeah. You guys that are from up north and stuff, you don't know. Florida is much more southern than you realize. It really was, became pretty popular, uppity, about people that were black civil rights activists. People like that. No, you live and learn. Trippy Vons, then you're wrong. You're wrong. You can call me on the air and we'll talk. The South has become, when we talk about the South, we don't mean it in the terms of today. Because so many, the country, people have moved so much. It's not the way it was 40 years ago. I mean, I'm going way back. I mean, I'm going to be 53 next month. So, and I've been coming down here for a long time. Yeah. Yeah, and he used it as a sarcasm for the old racial term. Absolutely. Yes. Florida's become northernized. That is correct. Mm-hmm. I mean, I told you guys, I remember when black people were not able to go out at night. Just wasn't allowed. You can all call me on the air and call me out.
Asphalt shingles, clay, and concrete tile, standing metal seams, slate tile, and flat roof systems. So come on and let our family take care of your family. Call me on my cell at 954-604-4602 or find us on the web at laportacontracting.com. The number again is 954-604-4602.
This is John from Lighthouse Medical Center and CFO and Director of Neuropathy. We want to welcome you to Lighthouse Medical Center this year with our 75th anniversary. We want to help a lot of patients. We want to be able to help you with your neuropathy issues as well. If you have numbness, burning, pain, tingling, lack of sleep, or balance issues, please come see us and let us help you with that. We've had thousands of patients come through Lighthouse Medical Center. Being able to see the quality improvement in their life, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Celebrate.
All right, callers on hold, stand by. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. This will be a short segment because this segment we're going to get back on break schedule, okay? But, all right, let's go. I'm sure Richie's loving it because we're talking about what he talked about. That's okay. That's an interesting conversation. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Is it me? I can't tell.
Yes, it's you.
Okay. I'm calling from Florida, but I'm an Alaskan since living in the Bronx and a million other places.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised to be on because I was just writing some notes here. Just to back up a little bit. In 1978, I was the first only teacher hired in public schools. I worked in a charter school in Manhattan. It was a black-started charter school. Those children, we used words. I grew up with the words uppity. Then it became colored, black, Negro. Those are all semantics.
Mm-hmm.
Kids were able to use the word. They were able to use the nigger word. I never would. I told them it did not come into my classroom. It was with the caller earlier, I didn't tell okay, now slow down for a second. With the caller earlier, I didn't tell him he couldn't use the let me finish my sentence. I didn't tell him he couldn't use the word, but he used the word uppity to describe a black woman who was yelling at a white man. In the context in which he used the word, that's a racial context, a racist context. Right. You are so right. The point is that, like me, I just found your radio station because I have my dead mother's radio here.
Oh.
Used.
Well.
I was looking for some quick music to take a shower, and I found the radio, and I heard one word, and I went, oh, my God, what the hell is this? Because I never can get transmission.
Yeah.
But let me just go back. So I am the same as him, except that I'm watching a lot of television now to bring myself up to date, because I was never chronic in Alaska. And he's just using words. The word uppity back then just meant if you gave it a new word, it would be disrespectful. It would be arrogant. He said the word arrogant. He just doesn't have the words for what it is. And
yeah.
You're absolutely right. To call him and say, hey, come up to 2024. I am coming up to 2024. I was raised by a person who, in Florida, I would give mouth to mouth to a lizard. I mean, whatever it was about.
Mouth to mouth to lizard.
Well, I mean, I was a chief midwife, and I used to give mouth to mouth to the
okay. Yeah.
But important is Dennis Rodman was in the commercial 2 years ago, and it was a fabulous commercial. He was dressed up. He did a GQ article. He was amazing, coming out, talking in GQ about his childhood, his sisters dressing him up, and he's a lovely man to young people. He's a very mixed bag. He never went back to North Korea, and Well, listen, we're getting off base, but I got to run for the break. Welcome to the program. I'll give you the last word. Yeah. Yes.
I was raised as a teenager at 67. I am now talking about it for the first time. Nobody talked about it in those days.
Yep.
The 12-year-old, 13-year-olds in the bathroom wrapped in a towel because she didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
When you go to a bathroom in a club, it's supposed to be a changing room, a locker room, we used to call it. So when you come out and say that, that's not fair.
That's true. That's true. Well, listen, you're right. You're right. Welcome to the program, and I hope to talk to you again in the future. Take care. All right, we're going to take this break. Yeah, I figured she was in the shower listening to us. Because of the time of the day, 3/4 of the people that are listening are in the bathroom doing something at one point while listening. I figure half the people are showering, the other half of that 3/4 are on the toilet at some point during the program. But, hey, listen, it's mornings. All right, we'll be back on break schedule, and Steve Kane will be joining us as well. Call us on hold, stand by.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Okay, and it is time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
How are you today, Brian?
Great. What do you have for us today?
Well, we're excited. We have a very, very full seminar in our office today, a Living Trust seminar. So if you're out there listening and you are planning to come and you did not RSVP, I'd suggest calling our office and rescheduling for our next one, which is in our office April 2nd, which is a Tuesday. And we're going to be talking about Living Trust, all the other important ancillary documents like powers of attorney, healthcare documents, how to protect your assets during your lifetime from the cost of long-term care, all of those things. And, we're getting to a point in the year now, too, where, of course, we have a very large snowbird population here in South Florida. And now is the time that if you are planning to get this done before you go, a lot of people leave a little bit after Easter, a little bit after Passover. Now is the time to really get the process started. If you want to get it done this year, if you want to get it done while you're down here. Otherwise, there's always next year, but you keep putting it off, and these are important things that need to get done to take care of yourself and to take care of your family.
Yeah, and if you're and snowbirds, you have a house or a home in Pennsylvania or New York, and you have an apartment or a condo here, they'll have 2 probates, right, Barry?
So yeah, if you have a property, not just here, let's say you're a Florida resident, and then you have your home wherever, like you said, Pennsylvania, and if that's not in your trust, you're not just going to have your Florida probate that will deal with your Florida real estate and your accounts, but also an ancillary probate in whatever other state you own property in. So now you'll have 2 probates. You'll have to have an attorney in each state, and your personal representatives are going to have to deal with all that. It's going to cost a lot more. It's going to be a lot more of a headache.
Absolutely. We'll avoid all that. Call the Siegel Law Group. And remember, no matter where you are in the state of Florida, the Siegel Law Group can help. And if you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the radio, it's a no-charge consultation with the Siegel Law Group. Give them a call, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Barry, we'll finish out the week tomorrow. All right, back after this.
Take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now, the Steve.
All right. Callers on hold, stand by. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane joining us. Hey, Steve. How's it going?
Great. I was watching television all day yesterday.
Yeah.
Biden is toast. I don't think there's even a chance he's going to be the candidate.
That's crazy talk, but he's toast. You're right. But he's going to be the candidate. He's going to be the candidate.
At best, 50-50.
They're planning on it. They even got him the new shoes so he doesn't fall down so much.
Oh, I noticed the shoes. I love the shoes.
Oh, don't you love those shoes?
Yeah.
I mean, couldn't they disguise them so they look normal?
He had special shoes on before that, too, by the way. Another set of very strange specialty shoes. They kind of look like jazz shoes, but sneaker versions. And now the ones he's wearing now, they look like orthopedic shoes.
Yeah, well, shoes aside.
If they were getting rid of him, they wouldn't have gotten him the new shoes. They would let him keep falling down, is the point. Yes. They don't want him to fall down so much because he's going to be the candidate.
You can't even talk. I mean, actually, I had a rare moment yesterday. Actually, after watching one of his interviews on television, I actually genuinely felt sorry for the guy.
Oh, how can you do that?
I did. It's totally out of character. I've never had a compassion.
I never feel sorry for Biden.
But it was that pathetic.
Steve, listen, right now, 2 days ago, General Milli Vanilli, he testified in his regular suit. Looked like he was wearing makeup. I guess he's coming out now, But he said that there's no way to know how many Americans Biden left behind in Afghanistan. And right now, as we speak, there are 1,000 U.S. citizens in Haiti under the rule of barbecue down there, and Biden's not doing anything to get them out. Don't feel sorry for him. He's a monster.
It's worse and worse.
He's a monster.
He is a monster. I can't.
Did you used to feel bad for John Gotti or Saddam Hussein? I mean, he's a monster, Joe Biden. He's trying to get Haitians out, but the Americans are on their own in Haiti. Think about that.
That's why every day, I mean, it's a major public relations disaster.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's take some of these calls. Some of you have been holding on for a while. Our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Good morning. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. I can hear you breathing. Oh, the hang up button was halfway depressed. Yes, you're on the air.
The mask.
Oh, I guess she had to take it took her a while to get on the line, Steve. She had to remove the mask.
I'm waiting so long, I have to do things.
I'm sorry.
Worth waiting for.
Exactly.
Anyway, Brian, I don't know where you hear these things about uppity. Uppity, in fact, many times it was referred to as a rich kid. Nose in the air, thinking you're better than others. Where you hear it referring to black.
Well,
always.
I've never heard it, yeah.
In fact, I've never heard it used in any context that wasn't related to Rick.
Me either, Steve. I haven't.
All right, I'm here.
Well, probably you surrounded yourself with white people since 75.
Circles you run in.
Yeah, you're not in it.
I worked in Lauderdale.
Okay, uppity. I don't need your bio. No one cares. Okay, this the thing, Louise. This is the thing, Louise. No, it's not. Uppity is mostly referred to as a black person that is speaking above their place in society.
Never heard it.
Frequently, it's used in conjunction with the N-word.
But I haven't heard it since I was a kid until this morning with Richie.
I never heard it referring.
Well, listen. I learned
originally.
Well, that's not the South. That's not the South.
No, I lived here since 75.
Okay.
Heard of what you're talking about.
Let me say one thing though, Louise, before you go. I learned that I don't say this often, but I'll say it today. I'm going to be 53 years old next month. I know, it makes you feel old, Steve, doesn't it? Yeah, I know. I'm going to be 53 years old next month, and I learn stuff every day, many times on this show.
Steve, where did Steve hear this? I never heard it.
The South, right, Steve?
Snooty,
yes,
rich kid.
It's definitely a Southern.
Yeah.
Well.
All right, take care. Our whole lives, okay? You were here you went to a segregated school, Steve, that was all white.
Segregated junior high?
Yeah, here in Florida.
Segregated college, Rollins?
Exactly. Do you know who went to your college, by the way? I just found this out. You went to Rollins College.
Perkins.
Not Tony Perkins from Psycho went there, correct. But Mr. Rogers went to your college, too. I did not know that. They just put a statue up of him. I guess they put it next to yours.
Stage. False.
They just put a statue of Fred Rogers up at Rollins College. Did they put it next to your statue at Rollins?
No, but my name's back there.
Yeah, I know it's back. But the thing about this, it's an interesting thing. The reason that so many people in this audience are not familiar with uppity in the context is because it's such an old word that hasn't, in that context, hasn't been used in about 40 years. That's all.
Word.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's go back to the very busy phones of opinionated people, which is what we like. Opinionated people. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Joellen from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Joellen.
Hey, Joe.
Hi there. Hey, uppity means snobbish. I've never heard it in that context either. I'm 66 years old. It's a word that you think you're better.
Okay. Now, are you your native Floridian?
No.
Where are you from?
Michigan.
Yeah, you're a Yankee.
Okay. Well,
and I've heard the word.
I have to spend the rest of the show on this.
Yeah.
Very clear. It definitely has Southern roots.
You're a Yankee.
That's why it's breaking down this way.
Yeah.
Listeners that were raised and went to school in the South, like Brian and I were, and
Yankees.
And you have Yankees.
And you're a Yankee. All right, take care. You know what? I remember, Steve, in the Florida's changed a lot. This used to be the South, but now so many people have moved here. When in the 70s and 80s, there was a bumper sticker that people used to have on their cars, and it would either be native or semi-native, meaning Floridian. Right, and Florida is not as southern as it used to be. Steve came when you came down with Henry Flagler, I think, right? All right, he didn't deny it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
You talking to me, Steve? And Brian? This is Anthony Antonio.
Hey, Antonio.
How you guys are doing? And look, that word that I remember from when I was young.
Yeah.
The word is played out. Nobody wants to hear it. And Steve and Brian, please stop giving them something to use. They don't need nothing more to use. That word is done. It's gone.
No. Hold on. No, let me tell you what happened. Okay. So, Richie called in, and he hold on a second here. Richie called in. He was talking about this black lady Democrat that was mouthed off for a second at Bobolinsky. And he said he called her uppity. And in the context in which he used it, he was using a racial slur against her. Now, she's a jerk. She's probably a racist. And, but he used a race. He said, I don't care if people think I'm racist, but that woman is uppity, he said. I don't care. That's how this began.
Okay.
So when someone uses like a racial term or a racial slur, if I don't call them out on it, it's like I'm saying it or endorsing it, and I'm going to call people out. I don't care if they got an R next to their name or a D.
That's good, but it's not a word. It's not racist anymore. And now,
hold on. It was racist in the context in which Richie used it.
Yeah, okay, but I didn't get offended by it, and I don't think anyone got but probably
first of all, it's an old-fashioned word.
Yeah.
Really is
antique. And I guess, I don't know. It's, Well, I'll give you an example, okay? It's like, and I'm sure, Stephen, you're antiquated. Yes, that's antiquated. I'm sure in your family, you had this, like my grandparents didn't call black people, they called them colored people. Right? And there are words, and colored can mean like your television or a picture, but there's context and things change. And Richie used a very old word. That's all, in a racial way. But because the phone board's lit up on it. No, we're not going to leave it dead. Listen, we're out of time for this hour, but we'll take our break for the topic. Call us on hold, stand by. We got a few things I haven't touched on yet, and I want to recap a thing or two as well. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve is here. My name is Brian. Our number 1-888-465-2631. Back after this.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar. WIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown. And Hurry Broward on 96.
Yeah, you're right. Richard Marks, you're right. That's funny. That's pretty funny. Yeah, maybe I should change the thumbnail to this show today. That's pretty funny. It takes a lot to make me laugh. And something somebody writes in the chat. Okay. All right, goodbye, Punta Gouda. Goodbye. See ya. Oh, my goodness. You're all welcome to call in if you disagree. That's why we, give out the phone number. You can take issue with this on the air. Don't have to cower behind your keyboard. Yes, Sarah will be on our cruise. On the cruise this year, my daughter is going to pack for me. Last year, I brought like a month's worth of stuff. I overpacked so much on the last cruise. Punta Gorda, I thought you were leaving. All right, callers on hold, stand by. I'm Brian Craig. Steve is here. I wanted to play this audio. Steve, I haven't played this yet. And this is, I love these things that happen. A mainstream media person, I'm not sure what outlet this is, black woman interviewed a black couple. And, one of the reasons that I spent more time than you might think I should have on that thing with Richie is because of this type of thing that I'm going to play for you right now. Donald Trump has done so many things that I thought were impossible, right? Overturning Roe v. Wade. Who would have thought anyone would have done that? Trump did it, right? Shutting down the illegal immigration, he did that. They brought it back, but he shut it down. And one of the other many things he's done, and I think you agree with this, Steve, he has blacks voting for the Republican Party in numbers that they haven't done since Eisenhower. Yeah. So, and I want to play this audio here, this interview with this black couple, and it's very instructive. So, Rush used to always talk about, the late great Rush Limbaugh. Every election, the Democrats take out that old, worn-out playbook, and they got the same play. The same plays every election cycle. They got a handful of tactics. One of them is to constantly call Republicans racist. And we have so many new black MAGA people that when we can't let them fall into that stereotype. These are newly red-pilled people. So this woman, she's a black mainstream reporter. I don't know who she's with. When I play this audio, if someone knows who this lady is with, let me know, because I want to know. Call us. She's interviewing this black couple about who they're voting for, and it did not go the way she expected. Listen.
2012, you voted for
Barack Obama.
Barack Obama. 2016,
I voted for Donald Trump.
Hillary Clinton.
Now this couple, they're married. They're a married couple.
In 2012.
And black.
For
Barack Obama.
Barack Obama. 2016,
I voted for Donald Trump.
Hillary Clinton. 2020,
Donald Trump.
Biden. And who will you vote for in 2024?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. You may vote for the former president. I mean, why do you say that? My views on certain things have changed. I am very much so riding the fence. What are you struggling with? Being in a pattern of doing the same thing that I've been doing, because it's kind of like second nature. Like when you go in a poll, you hit Democratic. Something has to happen. I mean, it's just so expensive to survive. And we're planning on having kids. I don't want to live in a stressful environment trying to rub two pennies together to try to make it either.
Wow. I mean, so you got two Obama voters who now are voting for Trump. And the woman, she says it's a habit. You're black, you go in and vote, you just Democrat. It's just a habit, an instinct. And she's hoping when she goes in that her instincts don't take control and she punches Democrat, right? I mean, this is amazing. And it's become so normal now to hear blacks supporting the Republican, Donald Trump, but it wasn't always that way. Steve, how many times you would go to like a Republican Party meeting, they would have a guest speaker, he'd be a black guy who's now a Republican, and it was like, it was like back in the 1800s, the abolitionist would have an escaped slave come and speak. And they'd be like, wow, the life on the plantation. And that's what it used to be like. Now, you go to a Trump rally, I feel like the minority, right? It's so diverse. Asians, Hispanics, blacks. So, yeah. And that's one of the reasons they're replacing us with Latin American peasants, is because they've lost so many of these groups that they've taken for granted. Yeah.
So
exactly. And I'm not sure who this woman is. Someone told me BET. I don't know. If anybody knows who she is, the reporter, and what outlet this was, the look on her face when they said, it was like, her only hope is this woman's instinct makes her vote Democrat. But that's astounding. It's amazing what Donald Trump has done. And the reason that this is happening is many, but she talked about the cost of living. We're at a point now where blacks as a group have reached economic equality, right? With the rest of society as a group. And when people become middle class and everywhere from that point forward, they don't like to pay taxes for freeloaders. They don't like to pay taxes to pay for illegals. And they don't like high prices because they're actually paying for it now, right? So there's been a big shift in the black vote under Donald Trump. It's huge, and it really needs to be really promoted and talked about. It's an amazing thing, and of course the media, they really don't like you knowing about this stuff. And you heard what she said. It's the cost to just survive now, to just survive. It's too much. And that's everywhere. The cost of everything is through the roof. I mean, last week or the week before, my wife and I went to Chipotle, and it was, now, I've been going there since they opened, and I get the same thing every time, and I made the mistake. I got extra steak on my burrito bowl. The extra steak is almost as much as a whole burrito. They've raised their prices. I won't be doing that anymore. The price of everything has gone. Steve, I went to Publix the other day and bought a pack of Gatorade, and I went to check out. I never looked at the price of Gatorade in my life. I need Gatorade, I go buy Gatorade. It was $11 for the little bottles of $11. you know, and I went home. I said, do we really need the Gatorade? Can we scratch that off the list next week? You know what I mean? I mean, things are out of control. And I don't know what parents are doing that have kids, little kids. I mean, my daughter's grown now, so she's not in the house. I mean, that's
doing without everybody from bottom.
It's really the way families are living today. In so many ways, it's like grapes of wrath out there. The depression, if you don't know the grapes of wrath. Yeah.
Go through their savings and
Yeah, I would.
equal
I read a story today. There was some reporting from the credit card companies that there's like a record high of people putting groceries on credit cards. You know, and people typically pay cash. Yeah, okay, yeah. So people normally pay cash for groceries, but when people are paying for groceries on a credit card, that's bad. That's bad. And that's Biden's America. And Biden doesn't care. Not just because he's checked out. He's just out of touch with, he just doesn't care. That's why there's 1,000 Americans in Haiti, but he's going to try to get Haitians out while the Americans are there. He just doesn't care, you know, about anyone that's an American. If you're South American, if you're Latin American, he cares about you. If you're Hamas, he cares about you.
DeSantis has been doing.
No. What has he done?
You had to be watching.
I'm watching. What's he done?
He was organizing the trying to get people out of Haiti.
Yeah. No, I know he's trying to get some Americans out of Haiti. Good for him. You know.
He's with everybody else here.
He is still No, he is not getting together. I don't see him campaigning for Trump. In fact, DeSantis said yesterday, basically, he's not going to. He said, "Well, Florida's not in play, so you know he's not going to campaign for Trump." So no, I know DeSantis is on my S list.
I understand that.
He's welcome to come in studio. I'm sure, you know, Steve, if he comes in studio, maybe he can convince me he's a good guy, but no. All right, listen, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll take a break and be back.
A midday crash on a daily basis. Women cause symptoms like hot flashes, anxiety, and depression, making your daily life feel far more difficult than it should. Men, do you feel
Randy Rhodes, I've called Randy Rhodes. Randy Rhodes banned me from calling her show. Oh my gosh, I've never done that. That's not good. I'd go without.
There's nothing else I can do. That and my gas.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I humiliated Randy Rhodes a couple times on the air pretty bad. And she banned me from calling. But whoever said that to me, you're welcome to call here, Army Mom. You're not missing much, Lisa. Yeah, Army Mom, you're welcome to call in. It's a toll-free call. Number's pinned right there at the top of the chat. There's a good chance that Army Mom is Randy Rhodes or a friend of hers trying to let people know she's still alive. I haven't heard that name in years.
FM. Hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at...
All right, call us on hold, stand by. I'm Brian. Steve Kane, of course, here it is, the Steve Kane Show. You know, yesterday or the day before, a listener messaged me and said, does that laser thing with Dr. Appleton work on sciatica? And in fact, I have a list here. It is a incomplete list, but it's a list of some of the most common things that people go to see Dr. Appleton for, okay? And sciatica is on the list. Arthritis, bronchial neuralgia, bursitis, hip pain, knee pain, lumbar pain, muscular contraction, sciatica, see the list is alphabetical, strains, sprains, tinnitus, tennis elbow, neck pain, stenosis, knee pain, back pains. You know, yes, if you're in pain, go see Dr. Appleton. And if you have sciatica, go see Dr. Appleton. That's on the list here. The laser wave pain treatment works. I know it works. He's rid me of pain 5 times. It actually repairs the damage that's causing the pain. That's why after he's treated me, Dr. Appleton, the pain hasn't returned. And it's 100% painless. No pain, no injections, no downtime, no drugs. It is 100% painless. Appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. Give Dr. Appleton a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain. All right, you want to go to the phones? What do you want to do, Steve? All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yeah, I heard, Steve. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice caller. Okay, we're getting a run on the silent treatment today. I wanted to play a clip of an interview with Joe Biden. Okay? You know, he gave an interview to a black interviewer on a is it a radio show or a podcast? And I learned something. Do you know that blacks don't have books at home? Well, you didn't hear the interview with Joe Biden yesterday. Joe Biden said blacks don't have books in their homes. Yeah, I'm going to play this. Joe Biden said poor black families don't have books in their homes during an interview on a Milwaukee radio station. He was being interviewed by a black woman, and of course, it's a black radio station. These liberals, they like to racially segregate their radio stations. Yeah, listen to this. You learn, you know, you learn things with Joe Biden.
You know, how many black communities are situated...
And by the way, listen to how out of it he is. You can't even hardly understand him.
You know, how many black communities are in a situation where they come from a circumstance where they're in difficulty, where the families are in real trouble, where you have people who, you know, how many, even those families that are really poor don't have any books in the house. The kids don't hear a whole lot of conversation.
Wow. In black homes, there aren't books around for the kids, and the kids don't hear conversations. What the hell is he talking about, man? What do you mean? He means that he's talking like Richie earlier. He's saying that blacks don't read, they don't want their kids to read, they don't have books at home, and they don't have conversations.
So they take books out of the library.
You know, and most books, but I mean, well, you know what it is? When people are suffering from, like I remember, you know, my grandfather had severe Alzheimer's, and he couldn't remember what happened 30 seconds ago. But if you were talking about 1910, he remembered it like it was yesterday, right? So Biden has severe dementia. We don't know what kind, you know, but he has some type of severe late-stage dementia. And when, and people that have severe dementia live in the past. And that's when he was first running for office as a Democrat in the 70s.
that's how Democrats used to talk. Segregation was just over, but schools were still segregated in '73 when he first got on the scene, right? You know, so he's reverted back to the early '70s. That's why he said that. That's how far his mind is gone. And I hope someone asks Jean-Pierre about that in the press briefing today. Black families don't have books and they don't talk to their kids about anything intellectual or important. I mean, that's some scary stuff. And if you don't vote for him, you ain't black, right? I mean, this guy, and that interview that I just played, that was just a couple days ago, about 4 or 5 days ago. So that was not like 10 years ago. Well, yeah, and you can hear by his voice how out of it he is. On the phone, I guess they didn't get him all juiced up on whatever they're juicing him up on these days.
State of the Union, I think. He exerted so much energy in delivering that bizarre, awful, counterproductive speech that he's never really recovered from it. It's juice out of him.
Well, I guess what happens is they pump you up with whatever they pump him up with, which is probably that stuff they found in the White House. And after, I guess you kind of, what happens after you're like really high and then you have like, you crash? He's kind of like in the crash phase.
Well, use anything that's strong at all going to take a toll on your.
Yeah. Well, and that I talked about this in the first. Did you see this video of him walking off stage? Oh.
With the Visiting Angels? Have you seen that one?
Oh, no, this one, I don't know if it's the one you're talking about, but what happened with this was yesterday. He's on stage, and it's visual. I played the audio, but it's a visual. It doesn't really work on the radio, so I'm just going to describe it. He's on stage, and a woman is speaking. He's on stage with a couple people. A woman is speaking at his podium. It has the presidential seal on it. And then he just walks off the stage and goes into the audience and sits down. And the stories about this are saying he saw this baby and he wanted to go see the baby and he sat down. That's not the case. That's not the case. The baby's about 18 months old. The mother's in her early 20s, and she's a good-looking woman. He saw that woman, and he wanted that woman. He goes over there. He sits down. He uses the baby as his in, right? Oh, little cute baby. But then he's whispering in the mom's ear while the woman on stage is still talking at his podium. And this fits into the dementias I was talking about. You know, another thing with people that are in late-stage age-related dementia, okay? They lose their, it's like being drunk. They lose their inhibitions. They lose their sensor. The worst qualities of people that people will, you know, a guy might be on the stage and see a hot woman and notice her, but you're in control of yourself. Biden is not in control of himself. He saw a hot woman. He wanted that woman, so he walked off the stage during the speech and started whispering in her ear and was trying to get in her pants. That's what he was doing. There was another instance this week. Did you see the one at the White House, Steve, with the blonde lady? Oh, my goodness. This one. And by the way, all these examples we're giving of Biden are since the State of the Union. So you're right, Steve. The State of the Union just took the last bit of gas he had in him, or maybe they can't get the blowback in the White House. I don't know, to pep him up. There was an event at the White House. When he was done, he went over. There was a blonde lady. He went over to kiss her. He thought she was Jill. He went over to her. She was an older lady. She's blonde, like Jill. And he's reaching over to kiss her. Jill was sitting down in the audience in the first row. I think this was in the East Room at the White House. It looked like the East Room. I could be wrong about the room. Jill got up just in time and got between him and the lady and stopped him from kissing her. He thought that this woman was his wife. It was scary. And I know some people will say, well, he's not in control. Well, then who is? There's no one in total control, okay?
You look at the people around him, his staff, what's ever left of it, they generate this awful feeling of giving up.
Yeah.
They used to up and to and through the State of the Union address.
Yeah.
Putting on a pretense. Now nobody's even bothering to put on a face anymore.
Yeah, and
I believe that the party. I mean, it to be pardon the expression, a bloodbath.
Yeah.
I can't believe that the saner minds in the party aren't going to see what's going on and inject themselves into the situation.
I don't know, but this.
Going to go with this.
This woman that he thought was Jill, that was one of the worst I've ever seen him, and I've seen him pretty bad. That's really bad. When you think some stranger is your wife and you go to kiss him, pretty bad. All right, listen, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. We'll be back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. The greatest rock and roll hits of the 60s and 70s coming up this morning. From the Palm Beach Patio Furniture Weather Center, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created, here's the oldies forecast.
Good morning, South Florida. First one here is Vanessa from WPTF 25 news. A nice cool start. We have temperatures in the 60s. We'll see a lot of sunshine today with highs back tomorrow morning near 79 degrees with no rain in the forecast. We'll see big changes on the way on the Friday. Widespread rains and thunderstorms moving in the morning and continuing into the nighttime hours.
Weather brought to you by Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Route 1 Seminole Plaza Shops, North Palm Beach.
Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Voted in the best patio store in Palm Beach County. PalmBeachPatioFurniture.com, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created.
And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. It's showtime in the Paddock Restaurant at PBKC with comedian Adam Carolla for 2 nights, March 22nd and 23rd. Only short days, April 19th and 20th. We also have dinner shows with Penny Nick's tribute to Tom Petty and Stevie Nicks, April 26th. And don't forget to make your reservations for our extravagant Easter brunch buffet and family fun fair on March 31st.
Ya que me enteré que existe una ley que dice que si una casa no está habitada, podemos expropiarla. Capichi, muchachos, aquí en United States también se aplica la de invasión de terreno. Y creo que ese será.
what's the name of that transgender person that works for Biden in the White House with the Navy uniform? I forgot their name. You guys let me know in the chat. I forgot their name. Rachel Levine, yes. Is it Levine or Levine? Yeah. Correct. Thank you very much, Blue Crow. Thank you. Rachel Levine, yes. Well, it's important for what I'm going to bring up. All right, we're back. I'm Brian Steves here. I was just mentioning, General Milli Vanilli was, testifying in a suit and tie, and he was wearing makeup. He was wearing facial makeup, by the way. If you go, I saw this pop up during the break on Twitter, and I just want to, this is crazy, and believe me, this is not a coincidence. It's a small world, but not this small. General Milley went to high school and played on the same football team with Rachel Levine, that transgender undersecretary of something that works at the White House. You think it's just a coincidence? Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and then somebody in the White House like that went to, so you got to wonder about him. Now, over the years, we've never had a problem. There's never been a point in American history where Mexico and the border has not been a problem. The Mexican border has always caused us problems. It's gotten worse now because they're invading us. But there used to be stories all the time of years ago that there would be like a pamphlet would be found in Spanish in Guatemala, and it would tell you how to get food stamps when you got to America, right? Remember those stories? Now everyone's Venezuelan, because if you say you're from Venezuela, and since you're undocumented, how do they know you're not? If you say you're from Venezuela, you automatically have asylum in the United States because of the status of the government down there. That's why they all say they're Venezuelan. But there always are ways that get outed on how the illegals can game the system once they get here. Did you see this one about the TikTok guy? Oh, this is something. Oh, no, this is new. This is new one today, so you may not be into. There's been a big problem with squatters, if you've noticed lately. And you see there were these squatter patrols are kicking squatters out, and I couldn't believe one woman. She comes home, there's people living in her house. She calls the police arrest the homeowner. I mean, it's crazy. Well, this Venezuelan TikToker. Let me read. This is in the Daily Mail. I'll play some of this audio when I get to it. A TikTok influencer has been busted advising illegals on how to invade America homes and invoke squatters' rights, making it difficult and nearly impossible to remove them from the homes that they're squatting in. I mean, this is like Michael Keaton in Pacific Heights. They got classes in. Oh, that's a great movie. I saw that again recently. That is, I would argue that next to Jackie Brown, that may be Michael Keaton's best role. Squatter, the TikToker is referring to squatters' rights, which are also known as adverse possession laws, a common law principle that allows illegals to acquire ownership of a property based on continuous occupation of the property without the legal owner's consent. Marino says he has friends who have taken about 7 homes. He says the only way for migrants to not live on the streets or to be a public burden is to seize and invade abandoned properties. His video has gone viral. It's been viewed about 4 million times as of the time of this reporting. It's many more than that now.
And there's squatters' rights apparently in all 50 states. And I'll play this. This is in Spanish, but I'll play it anyway.
Una casa en United States. Ya que me enteré que existe una ley que dice que si una
Casa, there you go, house. Okay, Okay, the reason I play that, I don't speak or understand Spanish. I took Spanish in high school. I took Spanish in college. I don't speak or understand any of it. I told you guys, I almost didn't graduate college because of the foreign language requirement. And I remember my ninth grade Spanish teacher said, Brian, if you fail my class, which I went on to do, by the way, if you fail my Spanish class by the year 2000, you will not be able to function in South Florida. Well, here we are, baby, 2024. Okay, I'm barely functioning. The reason I play this, though. Okay, casa again. All right. The reason I play this, and it's in Spanish, I don't.
We're down.
Yeah, I know casa. I know baño. You know. When I was in, and it's not. No, it is not su casa, mi casa, not su casa. I know a little bit more than I let on, but I remember I was in Peru with my friend Joe. He's Cuban. He speaks fluent Spanish, and we're in Peru, out in the middle of the desert, where they have those Nazca lines that they say the aliens made, right? And I go in to buy a Coke, and they told me the price, and I had to count on my fingers. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. They were all laughing at me like I was an idiot. You know, I was the only gringo within 1,000 miles. But anyway, the reason I played that is you hear his tone. I mean, it's like arrogant. He's telling people that not only can they use squatters' rights and how to do it, but you're entitled to do it. You understand what I mean? And, you know, he's promoting it and saying it's like the right and moral thing to do. And I don't know if La Raza still exists, because you never hear about La Raza anymore. Remember La Raza, Steve? The race. La Raza, I can understand more Spanish than I let on, okay? I just, but I can't, don't try to have a conversation. No, never mind. I remember you using Spanish once. I was on the phone talking to you once, and you drove up to the farm store to buy cat food, and the guy only spoke Spanish, and you were talking to him in Spanish, and you didn't know how to say cat food, but you could say cat. How do you say? What is it?
Gato.
Gato. Yeah, and you kept saying gato, gato, gato. He finally gave you the cat food. I was on the phone. But La Raza, which means the race, prior to this, like back in the Bush era and stuff, was based out of California. They're a very radical Hispanic group that promoted illegal immigration. They probably exist in some form, but you don't hear about them anymore for some reason. Maybe they've won. But La Raza out of California, what they used to tell people in South America is that the entire western United States, which includes California, is U.S.-occupied Mexican land. And they would distribute maps that would show a map of the United States and Mexico goes all the way north through to Canada, right? And that's the attitude you get with this guy here. That land is U.S.-occupied Mexican land. Those homes should be your homes, and here's how you take them. They're yours, and they can't kick you out. And if you've never seen Pacific Heights with Michael Keaton, you'll get an idea of squatters' rights.
But I disagree with you on the best Michael Keaton film. I think the best Michael Keaton film is Johnny Dangerously.
I stand corrected. You are correct. That's right. You're correct. I saw that too recently with Joe Piscopo. But that's a very good movie, by the way. But Pacific Heights, it's Michael Keaton, Matthew Modine, and Melanie Griffith. And Melanie Griffith and Matthew Modine are a couple that buy this, I don't know what kind of home you call it, in San Francisco, where they have a bunch of apartments in their home that they rent out to people, and they really can't afford the mortgage, but they're going to rent out the apartments. And Michael Keaton it's a thriller, it's a scary movie. He goes from place to place. He moves into people's houses as a renter, never pays the rent, and by the time it's over, he owns the house, and he makes a whole living traveling the country doing this. This squatters' rights thing is a big deal going on in this country. There was a story a few months ago, a couple months back, a woman who's in the Army was deployed. She comes back in Atlanta, and there were illegals living in her house, and she couldn't get them out. She just came back from like Afghanistan or Iraq or something. You know, she couldn't get them out. And that's this squatters thing. It's always happened, but it was an unusual story. Now it's so common, these squatter hunters that were in the news yesterday, that's got to be a reality show coming, squatter hunters. This is becoming quite commonplace. And people that have rental properties, I don't know what they do, but I will tell you what I would do. I'd get that doorbell camera from Sloman's. Let me tell you, when I'm on the cruise, if some squatters try to move into my house, I'm going to get the notification in Aruba, and I'll be calling the police and say, hey, there's people at my door. They're trying to break in and squat at my home. I'm on a cruise. I'm in Aruba, baby. But you want to call Sloman's. What a great lead-in for a spot. It's just coincidental, but it's time for the spot anyway. Sloman's is going to give you a free $1,500 valued home security system with professional installation when you use the low-cost central station monitoring. All right? And this is amazing. This is a limited-time offer. It's a total home security package. Sloman's is going to give you an LED touchscreen keypad, a motion detector, 10 entry points, a lifetime service plan, professional installation, a backup battery, and you'll also get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. I'm going to give you the number. Give them a call. 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. We'll take a break and be back.
The cold truth.
All right, now I've been waiting for this all morning long, and that is the gold and precious metals report with William Youngerman, because big news was made with gold yesterday. William Youngerman, how's gold looking today?
Gold's looking very good, very strong. Finally hitting some numbers that we've been talking about for several months, and gold over $2,200 this morning. Yesterday we saw gold close up to $2,186.10, up $29.10 after hitting a high of $2,190. Silver closed up 66 cents yesterday at $25.52 the ounce. Platinum gained $14 at $906, and palladium was up $29 at $1,006. As I said, overnight the rally continued for gold, getting all the way up to $2,211, the low being $2,195. Right now, gold trading at $22.0350. That's up $17.40. So you got, in 2 days, we've had like a $47 uptick in gold so far. Silver up, down 17 cents right now at $25.35 the ounce. Platinum up $8 at $914, and palladium unchanged at $1,006. So here we are, gold over $2,200 an ounce.
And we're still going. So when people buy gold today, I mean, what the best gold is depends on what somebody's goals are. But if someone's goal is to get the most gold for their money, what would you recommend today? That pre-33 gold you were talking about yesterday sounded amazing. Is that the best buy? Is the Australian 1 ounce the best buy? What are you recommending?
Yeah, these are all great values. I mean, if you're looking for pre-33, the best value you can get is those $20 gold pieces we gave our Steve Kane listeners a very special price on. Also, the 1 ounce gold bars are an excellent value, and of course, the kangaroo coins are the best, all-around best value of any of the coins. At the lowest premium and the best reasons to own those particular coins. Beautiful, encapsulated, pure gold, 999 fine 1 ounce gold coins, made by the Perth Mint of Australia.
Yeah, they are beautiful, and the reason they're encapsulated is because they're pure gold, and they're so beautiful. All right, well, listen, guys. I mean, did we hit a record yesterday?
The last night of $2,211.
So that's the
new all-time high too on the close.
So that's the all-time high of gold. Can you imagine? You know, I mean, I saw another story about a shipwreck off South America that's filled with treasure. Any Bitcoin on that sunken galleon? I doubt it. Gold, that's what's going to be there, in silver. That's why they want it so much.
Give William Youngerman a call. This is exciting times for the medals. He opens up at 10 a.m. 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. Online, WilliamYoungerman.com. And I'm going to give you the address. And remember, with William Youngerman, all the medals are available for immediate delivery. 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. All right, William Youngerman will finish out the week tomorrow. All right, back after this.
Justice Warriors for breakfast. Now this.
All right, we are back. You want to go back to the phone, Steve? Okay, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Fort Lauderdale.
Yes.
Am I on the air?
Yes, you are.
All right, I'm piggybacking off of something your topic was earlier about how things are expensive. What's going on in the country, and I did it, is people are buying in Portugal. They're moving out. My taxes for the year are like $300. My insurance is $250. That's for the year, not per month.
You live in Portugal? You're moving to Portugal?
Oh, yeah, for retirement. I can't live here. I'll be working until I'm 90 years old.
What do you, yeah, you would be. What do you do, what do you do for a living?
I'm a director of a medical company.
Oh.
Money.
Yeah.
Property's cheaper there. I'll be moving to Porto. Food is cheaper. If somebody tries to squat in your house, the police will come out by the ears. None of that baloney.
Well, in Florida, the squatters don't have an easy time in Florida either. You know, Ron DeSantis was talking about that this week. But you know, that's good and everything for you to move to Portugal. But most people can't just pack up and move to Portugal. They're stuck here.
Well, I mean, I looked at the big picture. I mean, the way things are with the economy, with it's like I'll be working until I'm like 90 years old trying to pay taxes.
Well, do you calculate in your calculations? Have you programmed in the Trump factor?
I'm praying to God for Donald Trump. I'm praying to God.
He's going to win. I mean, any plan that doesn't take that into consideration is incomplete.
But what did Lenin say? Lenin said it doesn't matter how many votes, it matters who counts the votes.
Mm. Oh, so this is interesting. You're a tough guy. So you're giving up on America.
No,
yeah, but you're abandoning America, and you figure it's hopeless. Are you going? Is your wife moving with you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. Okay, so you got things going on. Okay, well, have fun in Portugal. The rest of us will stay here and try to make America great again.
That's that, dude.
Oh. All right. So you've just given up. I mean, you know, he's. No, not really. He's given up on America. He's you know, he thinks it's hopeless. You know, this is, you know, he's making it, you know, it's, you know what it sounds like to me? He wants to move to Portugal, so he's convinced himself of all these things, convinced his wife of all these things so that he can go to Portugal. You know, hey, listen, you know, some people, I don't think that, I don't want to live in another country. I have zero desire to live in another state. I love Florida, you know, I'm not moving.
If God forbid, and I know this is not going to happen, but what would you feel the same way if you thought Biden?
If Biden is not going to win, Trump is going to win in a landslide.
In agreement, I'm just saying, is Trump key to your thinking in this?
No, I'd still stay here no matter what happened. You know, come on. Where you're going to leave? You're going to leave your place, Steve? You're going to leave Cooper City if Trump isn't president next year?
Let me tell you something. If I didn't feel in my deepest bones that Trump was not going to win that election, I'd have seriously considering an alternate plan.
Where would you move? At your age, with your house and everything, where would you move?
England.
England?
Family in England.
England's a Muslim country, man.
Well, not where my daughter lives.
You know, don't be so sure. Ask her if they play the call to prayer. Can she hear the call to prayer?
Okay,
Ask her. I'm not kidding. I hear all kinds of stories, no, I don't think so. And Steve, the UK is more woke than we are. You'd be shocked. I have friends and family in the UK too. You might if you move to England, you're in trouble. Maybe you should move to get your daughter to leave England and go to like Ireland or Scotland. Maybe then. But if you're in like England, part of the UK, it's a Muslim country. They are woke beyond anything we have in this country. And it's bad news. You wouldn't like it. But no, I wouldn't leave the country. No, not going to give up on it. And I'll tell you, what the one guy said, I'm giving up, but what's the point?
This country would look, God forbid, we turned it over to...
Oh, I can't, my mind doesn't allow that. To Biden? No, my mind doesn't allow me to even think that way. No. But here...
If you do, so you've got very powerful senses of denial. But
I'll tell you what would happen. And I hope the president's not listening today, because there's nowhere in my imagination where anything other than Trump winning in a landslide is going to happen. But in your Tim Burton American nightmare here, okay, what would happen is things would get worse than they've been since 1930 in this country economically. There'd be a complete economic collapse. And what would happen at the end of those 4 years, it would get so bad that we would come back in 4 years after that. That's what would happen. And yeah,
it would get pretty awful.
But I'll tell you this, with our Portuguese coward there fleeing the country, they did it last time, they'll do it again. President Trump won the nomination. They just didn't say, well, you're popular, it's yours. They tried every scheme they could against this guy. He beat the Democrat and Republican establishment. They put up these... Yeah. Look at what I give you an example, and New Hampshire's not alone in this. They spent a year, because New Hampshire, they knew they were hopeless in Iowa, okay, because they're very red, and he did so much for the farmers, right? They thought they had a chance in New Hampshire because Sununu, his dad worked for Bush, won, and they're all tight. And that it's a crossover primary state, New Hampshire. They spent a year, not a couple of months, not a couple of weeks. They spent an entire year, the Republican and Democrat establishment, working together in New Hampshire because it's a crossover primary to defeat Trump in New Hampshire, and he won. Okay? So, so they, and he won, and when these primaries happened, the machines of both parties were working against him. And he beat them.
Do you know what the final killer was for them?
What?
All these legal cases they had lined up against.
That made it, yeah.
That's what was the final straw for the public.
That's right.
So in that last act, it was obvious what was going on.
Yeah.
They turned everybody against them.
So the Portuguese guy, the guy fleeing to Portugal, you can tell yourself whatever you want. Oh, they did it before, they'll do it again. Let me finish this thing. Donald Trump in the primaries defeated about 35 different uniparty plots to stop him. And arrest, mugshots, DeSantis, Nikki, he'll get Christie in the debate. He'll fillet him in the debate. And he won everything except one primary Nikki barely got. She lost her home state. He didn't just walk into all these primary victories. They tried to stop him in every... They're still...
This, by the way,
the lawfare.
Do you have any predictions on how this thing's going to play out next Monday?
What's next Monday? You talking about New York?
Property.
No. I told you, and this has been confirmed again in this morning's news. Big billionaire Trump mega donors are meeting to raise the money to pay Letitia.
So do they say they've had success in raising?
They haven't had the meeting. Yeah, they'll have no problem. Yeah, so he's not. It'll be fine.
Down to
and now.
Get a win, and then.
And the media,
the media say Letitia's going to seize Mar-a-Lago. In Florida, you cannot seize people's homes in Florida. This is not New York, okay? And some people think he may let her take Trump Tower. I don't know about that. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know. No, I'm not worried. Trump's fine.
Well, for the note.
Yeah. Now, listen, if you're on hold, stand by. I just want to take a moment to tell people about, in these economic times, Jupiter Joe Thomas. I did not know this. Joe Thomas, when he called in yesterday, when you win the lottery and you get that money every year from the lottery, and if you don't get in the lump sum, do you know the Florida lottery keeps your lottery winnings in an annuity? I didn't know that. I did not know that. I also didn't know that pensions are annuities. They pay you from an annuity, because these annuities, not only is the money safe, but annuities generate income. That's why the Florida Lottery uses it. That's why the companies with pensions use it. And Joe Thomas is offering free phone consultations if you mention this program. Here's his number, 561-743-0999. No matter where you're located, he can help you. All right, 561-743-0999. If you missed the number, go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. All right, we're running short on time, but let's try to squeeze. I'm trying to say squeeze some calls in. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Keely, and I'm in North Carolina.
All right, what's up?
John caller. I believe in my heart that if President Trump is not elected, because what's happening is all written in the Bible, and
well, listen. He's going to win in November. However, this country has been through terrible things: Civil War, the Dust Bowl, the Depression, Obama. We've been through terrible things, and we're survivors and winners in this country. So Trump is going to win. I don't see a scenario where he doesn't. But if, God forbid, that did not happen, we would fight hard through it and survive. It would not be the end of everything.
I mean, Christ is going to come back, and that'll be the end.
Well, but doesn't the Bible tell us that we don't know when that's going to happen? So I don't know how you know, because the Bible says that no one knows. All right, listen, on that note, tomorrow is Open Phones. It's Friday already tomorrow. Open MAGA Mike Friday, when you can call in about any and everything on your mind, not limited to the topics we bring up. That's tomorrow. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane, of course, is here. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Have a great day, everyone.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar. WIR.
All right, guys, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. Everyone else that's subbed, like the video, all right? I'll see you later, guys. Thanks for